Hey everybody, good Tuesday morning, not top of the morning because it is 20 minutes to 11 as I get ready to read my morning post that I did earlier this morning. A little bit of it here, a little bit of it on the Cabbage Town porch, a little bit of it at the A1 Blueprint shop. So I've already made my rounds this morning, but good morning. We all have this relationship with our money. I know some people's like, we come from different raisins and backgrounds of money. Being raised up in the church and around a religious family, it was often preached and taught that the love of money is the root of all evil. Over the years, a lot of the praying people I knew, they mainly prayed a lot about their finances. No wonder that big movement of the prosperity gospel touched so many people who was trying to figure out a way to pay bills, to get ahead, to have a home, to update their car. So we have this, we all have this thing. People's like, you can't just live and let live. Now I'll tell you about me. I'm 70 years old. I've never ever balanced a checking book in my life. I never wrote down stuff that I bought. I've looked back over time and I've realized I've known what I call penny pinchers. And a lot of those people have resources. And still, man, they look at the prices of a box of Frosted Flakes and get a off-brand because it's 29 cents a box cheaper or something. And I've known stingy people. I've known people that was just stingy with their own family. I've just known stingy people. And then I've known people who were just give you the shirt off their back. Money really didn't mean a lot to them. I've always lived my life as if I'm rich, even when I had nothing. I know that's probably not wise for everybody to do. I started A1 Blueprint Company with a Discover card that was the only credit I had at that time with $5,000 on it. And the business was $5,000. And I took $3,000 of that and bought an old blueprint machine out of Boston, Massachusetts. And they shipped down here. But anyway, having said all that, the Morning Post. Money is stressful, or the lack thereof. Statistics say that the biggest percentage of Americans struggle financially. That the majority of people, the biggest majority, 75-80%, some of those things say, 75-80% of people in America live paycheck to paycheck. I read another thing that said that if they had to immediately come up with $1,000, it would just crush a lot of them. They wouldn't be able to do it. A lot of people live Social Security to Social Security. That's all they have. I've had renters, that's all they had was their Social Security check. And to try to live off of a Social Security check, to pay your utilities and insurance, it's tough for a lot of people. And there has been no increase in incomes in the last, my glasses is fogging up. There's been no increase in income in years for people. And it's got worse under Donald Trump. For years, Americans have just kind of been cut out of that piece of American pie, And now they are trying to start 40-year mortgages as if 30 years is not long enough to pay on a house. And just the other day, I went across the street from the shop to Jimmy John's and just got a fountain drink. Just a fountain drink was $3.89. The post is interrupted at this point with a phone call, and Kathy calls. She sounds like she's about to cry. She asked, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just sitting outside." She said, "Can you go get Savannah and take her to school?" She said, "Oh my God, Eddie, I can't find my keys nowhere. I've lost my keys." And I said, "Well, just calm down. They'll show up. They ain't went nowhere. I'll go get her and take her to school." So I head over to Cabbagetown to finish this part of the post. P.S. They found the keys later. George, her husband, he works third shift at Marriott, had picked up her keys last night and put in his pocket and took to work with him. Things usually always turn up. I would hate to be George, because I would have thrown them keys out on the side of the road before I'd said I'd done that, because I know how upset Kathy was about that. But now she's getting a spare key made. Anyhow, on the porch in Cabbagetown, the post continues as I wait for Savannah. I've come to realize that families are simply backup plans. They are our insurance. Families are safety nets. Saviors. Doing bills yesterday, I totaled out what I had spent the last year fixing up the Key Road house, $46,000. And I tell myself, if I had paid other people, contractors, and this one and that one to do what all that I did and George did, it probably would have been closer to $85,000 or $90,000. I thought it would be about $25,000. But whatever you think something is going to cost nowadays, just double it. That's the world we're living in now. Everything is double. Bread, anything, ice cream, a pair of shoes, just double it. I was going to sell the Key Road house, and I figured, well, I'll just pay off that $50,000 when I sell it. But now I want to try to hold on to it for Caleb, my grandson, and it be his house. So when and if one day he wants to move out on his own, he'll have a house that's paid for. It's hard, y'all, to get houses that's paid for. Unless you want to do a 30-year or 40-year mortgage. So I guess we'll just rent it out. The people who live in these big fancy homes and big fancy cul-de-sacs and $1 million homes in Grant Park and East Atlanta and Ormwood Park and Cabbagetown, they have $1 million mortgages to go along with it. They are probably have a more stressed out life than people who have hardly anything, as the sun's beating down on me. I look angelic, don't I? I am angelic. Y'all don't realize this, but when you hear me, you hear angels speak. You hear God speak. You hear the universe telling you something. It costs a lot of money to maintain those kind of lifestyles. I finished the post writing, setting at A1 Blueprint as I get to the shop this morning. From the outside, most people would think Ava and I have the life. I think we do. I haven't had a mortgage on anything in 30 years, including the building over there at the shop. We don't have car payments or leases. We drive old cars. My trucks and my little putt-putts, 2015, both of them, and Ava's car's a 2015, so they're all 11 years old, but they're all still in good shape. My years of needing to smell new leather in a brand new car, actually, if I was going to front some money now to get a car, I wouldn't mind having me an old 1967 Chevrolet to put around Atlanta in. Or an old Jeep that's in good shape. We don't have car payments and leases. We have old cars. As a family, my daughter Jill, her house in Cabbagetown, Heather's house in College Park, Caleb's house, Kathy's house, so they're all mortgage free. What a blessing that is for a family, you know. Yeah, I have a lot of gratitude for that. Where am I at with this? And then, and yet, it's dawning to me to realize there's $46,000 out there I spent on that house. I've got to reconcile some kind of way. But I think about the daily struggles of other people in the richest country on earth. And then so many kids need a free lunch program for food. While many of those same people keep voting for rich millionaires who live in penthouses and have fancy boats in Miami and pocket millions while they're in office, on both sides. Could it be true that about 6% of the population owns roughly 95% of all the wealth in this great country? We nowadays have trillionaires that live in the country, hoarders of our financial wealth as a nation. Donald Trump leads the list of that. And if that is true, which it is, no wonder we see the rise of the Democratic Socialist Party. People are sick of it, y'all. The whole system is controlled by rich people who now seem to want to make sure that working poor people never own a home. Why are they so greedy? Why does somebody have to put $1 billion in their pocket and other kids try to get on a program for a free lunch? Something doesn't seem right about all of it. You know, that's not a free enterprise. That's a raping of a nation. The whole system seems out of whack. Something's not right with America, y'all. We all know it on both sides. MAGA, Democrat, Socialist Democrat, we all know there's something rotten about our system. And one election is not going to fix it. And Donald Trump has made it worse. Good Tuesday morning, sweet people. The Tuesday begins. The picture over on my Facebook page. The Cabbagetown house, Jill's little house with her little front porch. Love y'all.